Okay, hi, sorry, had a little bit of technical difficulties there. All right, well, hello. Um, Welcome. And today's Tuesday Truth Day. We're going to talk about breathing, and specifically, we're going to talk about your diaphragm. So, how many of you ever think about, oh, something's weird. Sorry, I hope this is working. Yep, still working. Okay, sorry about that. How many of you ever think about your breath or breathing unless something is restricting it or you're in a yoga class and they tell you to think about it? Well, if you're like me, you've got a lot of other things that hold your attention more than breathing. But during this live, I'm going to give you a few great health reasons why it's really important to stop and breathe every day. And in particular, the why and how it's so important to show a lot of love for your diaphragm, because a healthy and strong diaphragm can help you not only reduce inflammation, but can help with weight loss. But first, for those of you who don't already know, I'm Lisa, and I'm a certified nutritional practitioner and a certified personal trainer who's worked with hundreds of clients over the years, teaching them about their bodies and helping them achieve their personal wellness goals. Together, Daria, who's my business partner and is an expressive arts therapist, currently doing her master's degree in psychology. So she's been off the last couple of weeks because she's doing some finals, and I don't know, any of you who've done your master's knows how difficult that is. So we've given her a couple of weeks off. She needs it. But cross your fingers and wish her luck because she's amazing. But Daria and I have created a number of transforming relationships with food courses that help you transform your relationship with food and with yourself so that you never have to worry about dieting again. Our workshops and courses help you to change your eating habits for better health with minimal guilt, shame, self-deprivation, and loss, because we want you to want to make better choices because you finally agree that you deserve to feel good every day. And healthy food choices are the first step in feeling really good. So, in these lives, we do our very best to share insights that can help you move towards this place and shift your perspective about yourself and your bodies to a more compassionate one. So, thank you for joining me. Please comment live if you're watching this now, or replay if you're watching the recording. So, what is this diaphragm I speak of? Well, the diaphragm is arguably the most important muscle in the body because it keeps you breathing every second of every day. And breathing allows oxygen to enter the bloodstream, which is required by each and every structure in the body. Essentially, oxygenated blood is life. But we also rely on the diaphragm muscle to pump digestive contents and regulate our nervous system. So it's fair to say that keeping it healthy keeps us very healthy. But I want to drive home the fact that without oxygen-rich blood, there's no ability for any structure to function in the body. And the diaphragm is the muscle that facilitates this whole oxygenating process. Sorry, my mouth is not working. I must not be using my diaphragm. So the diaphragm is the reason why uptake of oxygen, so breathing, and delivery of the blood, the life-sustaining fuel, is possible in the first place. So when it slacks, our bodies suffer. So what is this diaphragm? Well, it's a thin skeletal muscle that sits at the base of the chest and separates the abdominal cavity, or the stomach area, from the thoracic cavity, or the chest area. It's an involuntary muscle, meaning we don't operate it consciously. It contracts every 3 to 5 seconds on its own. As it contracts, it flattens when we inhale. So that's the contraction, and it creates this vacuum effect that pulls the air into the lungs. So when we exhale, the diaphragm relaxes and the air is pushed out of the lungs. So it shares direct tissue connection from all the way from the rib cage way down to the hip and the leg. So movement in the hips and legs is key to keeping it strong. Remember, all of your organs are housed under the dome of the diaphragm, so it's no wonder we experience a wide array of issues when we have restriction or trauma to this muscle, including poor digestion and even anxiety. So think about this. When we sit, it places the diaphragm in a shortened state, which then places pressure on all the organs that are housed within its domes. So digestive organs, well, all of your organs. So sitting for long periods of time quite literally compresses the organs and spine, which over time leads to issues with these tissues. For example, the the positioning around the digestive organs means that the diaphragm also acts as a pump to move digestive contents through the tract. So we also have peristalsis moving the food through the contents through the tract, but the diaphragm assists with this. So if it's weakened or tightened and weakened because of prolonged sitting, it will compress these organs, causing less space for the peristalsis to function effectively, and that leads to poor nutrient uptake, constipation, inflammation, and ultimately weight gain because you're not getting nurtured. I can't talk tonight. I'm going to do the deep breathing. Well, that's the answer, so shh, tell you later. Okay, so this is another reason why regular movement, like movement, standing up, moving, is essential to healthy function of the body as a whole. So the diaphragm is also important for cardiovascular health because the ability of the lungs to expand and take in oxygen is directly influenced by the amount of tension, rigidity, or restriction in the diaphragm. So the less air the lungs are able to intake, the less oxygen is able to reach the tissues. And remember, all tissues require oxygen for function. So maintaining a strong diaphragm is integral or essential for cardiovascular health in general. The diaphragm is also directly connected to both the sympathetic and the parasympathetic branches of the central nervous system, meaning it goes into fight or flight or rest and digest along with your nervous system. So during fight or flight mode, breathing shortens, quickens, adrenaline is released, and this causes spontaneous increased respiratory rate while blood is being pushed out to the extremities, to the arms and legs, so that you can either fight or flight. So people who are chronically in a state of stress tend to have chronic tension in their diaphragm. And conversely, people that spend more time in rest and digest mode tend to have better circulation, digestive health, and fewer chronic issues as a result. So we know that stress causes a tight diaphragm, but there are other reasons for it too. So digestive disorders such as chronic ulcers or leaky gut, excessive weight, especially in the abdominal area, doing too much too soon in exercise or training programs and not allowing the tissue to heal but in between workouts. Poor lifestyle habits, of course, like poor diet, lack of movement, and poor emotional and mental state. But other causes include pregnancy, and a lot of new mothers will tell you they have some problems breathing. Anxiety causes it because you're just breathing too quickly. Hiatal hernia, trauma from an accident, bladder problems, and nerve damage can all contribute to tight, weak diaphragms. My nose is itchy. Someone's thinking of me. Maybe you guys. How does it feel when it's really tight? So have you ever gone for a run and gotten a stitch in your side that kind of stops you from being able to breathe well and to continue running? So that's a diaphragm spasm. So you might also resort to chest breathing when you're stressed. So if you're perpetually stressed out and you find yourself with tension in your diaphragm because you're breathing too short, I gotta get the chores done, I gotta get schoolwork done. I bet you Daria has some tightness in her diaphragm this week from her master's thesis. Oh my goodness. So this tightness can cause a domino effect into other things. So for example, you'll end up with tension in your diaphragm, leading to tightness in the neck muscles, the shoulder muscles, and this can be bad because it can lead to headaches. Other symptoms include tight chest, shortness of breathing when lying down or when walking, or when you're immersed in water, when you're swimming and you can't get breath. That can be a tight diaphragm because the water is putting pressure, so it's not got that movement. It's weak. Um, Painful sides when you're sneezing or coughing, a persistent cough, sore neck and shoulders, indigestion, and of course hiccups. So hiccups are actually repeated diaphragm spasms. So they happen when the space between your vocal cords closes because the pressure's too much, like your diaphragm doesn't have enough strength. So that stops the air from coming in prematurely, causing that hic sound, because your diaphragm's cutting it off. So how do you treat this tight diaphragm? Well, the answer is with belly breathing, or better term is diaphragmatic breathing. So by diaphragmatic breathing, you will correct your breathing so that you strengthen the diaphragm, decrease the work of breathing by slowing your breathing rate, decrease oxygen demand because you're getting it all with one breath in, and also it'll like lessen the amount of energy you need to breathe. So when you practice, you actually make yourself more efficient. So during diaphragmatic breathing, you consciously use your diaphragm to take deep breaths. So you override your autonomic nervous system. When you breathe normally, you don't use your lungs to full capacity, but by doing diaphragmatic breathing or belly breathing, I'm going to call it belly breathing because it's a little bit easier. You can actually get your lungs to work at 100% capacity. It takes a bit of practice, but you can get there. Oh, hang on. It says I've got to close some stuff. Sorry. All right. Hopefully that didn't interrupt. Okay, so if you have COPD, it may be harder for you to do this, so always consult a doctor if you do have chronic issues before you start a new practice. But you can start slow as well. So by practicing this every day, you will learn to relax. You'll get yourself out of fight or flight. You'll improve your muscle function during exercises, like actually when you're doing physical activity. If you learn how to breathe, you will improve your performance. You'll make it easier for your body to release gas waste from your lungs. So you'll be cleaning out your lungs from all the toxicity that you're taking in, as well as the CO2. You'll reduce your blood pressure and reduce your heart rate. It can help with severe chronic conditions such as anxiety, asthma, COPD, and stress. Once again, always consult a professional if you have any unsureness about any practice. Consult a professional. But you always want to follow your healthcare provider's suggestions first before mine, of course. But I'm just saying, like, if you do practice this, it will help if you're allowed to do it. So when you first start, it's better to lie on your back or a flat surface. Use a pillow under your neck, and also raise up your knees. And place one hand on your upper chest and the other just below your rib. So I'm going to stand up. So just here and here. And this will be able to help you determine whether or not where do I stand? There. Whether or not your belly is moving or your chest. So you don't want your chest to move. So this hand should stay in place. This hand you want to come out and in. So let's practice. Breathe in slowly through your nose. See, I did it wrong. Did you see this move? So slowly through your nose, making your belly expand. And then out through your teeth. I'm pregnant. I lied, I'm too old. Okay. And contract your belly muscles to push that air out and give your diaphragm some help. Now, I am needing to practice this myself, so that was not the best, but practice every day. Do about 8 to 10 reps and 3 sets. Practice every day, and you will see a difference. Gradually increase the amount of time you're doing it. Take count six as you come in, like 1 banana, 2 banana, 3 banana, 4. Try and get as much air into your lungs as you possibly can, and then release out through your teeth. All right. So summing it up, the diaphragm is so important. Regular movement and stress reduction are essential to whole body health, which is why we must never overlook the assessment and treatment of the diaphragm. So, are you enjoying our live content? So be sure to let me know in the comments. We know that understanding and working with the body to achieve ultimate good health is challenging. But what if we can make it easy? What if Daria and I can make it easy? Because you know what, we can. We've created these programs that involve minimal changes to how you eat, and barely any changes to how much you eat. So along with that knowledge and some therapeutic techniques to help you develop more self-love and build more self-awareness, we can get you to your optimal health in a relatively short time. We had one client who lost 14 inches in 4 weeks, but she only lost 5 pounds. The rest was all inflammation, and she really didn't feel deprived, and what's more, she felt like she wanted to make better food choices because she felt she deserved to feel good. That's where we want to get you. Your bodies are amazing machines that, when directed and nourished properly, will do what it needs to be done to maintain optimal good health. Sorry about this. So with our programs, you'll gain that knowledge and that personal power. So sign up for our online workshop courses at courses.memethod.ca, or better yet, join us in person on June 24th and 5th for a 2-day workshop. We're super excited to meet some of you. It's in-person coaching on the physiological processes in the body that affect nutrition and health, and expressive arts techniques to address the emotional barriers involved with changing personal health habits. We'll also do food sensitivity testing for over 80 food items, and we'll give you access to the private Facebook group where you'll have access to us for a year after the course for support, education, and accountability. You'll also get the option to sign up for the 12-week online course that's similar, and a ton more bonuses. So we usually charge $1,197, but we're offering it to you at $297, and it's a 2-day workshop. So sign up at the link that I put in the comments, or DM me if you want to talk more about it. I'm happy to answer any questions or drop on a call to talk to you directly. So thanks so much for listening.